Hi, I'm Andrea Klim, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. And today is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2014, and I'm very happy to be back. I was away for the holidays, and I am very pleased to be bringing some of these topics to you today. Very, very important. And so at the beginning of the show, I just want to overview some of the topics that I'll be talking about on Turn to the Stars today. The first 3 or 4 minutes is going to be Turn to the Stars news, and second on the agenda is going to be the Gemini full moon that is occurring at its peak of fullness this Saturday, December 6th. And next in line will be Jupiter goes retrograde, which will be on Monday, December 8th. And the next topic will be the 6th Uranus-Pluto Square that we'll be experiencing. So I want to just talk for a couple minutes about an event that's coming up. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to everyone who attended our 26th Psychic and Holistic Fair on November 22nd. We had a phenomenal amount of wonderful people come. And big thank you to Danielle Dion for her great job in the Evidential Mediumship Gallery. And to move on, this Saturday, what's happening at Turn to the Stars is that I'll be at the 6th Annual Festival of the Angels sponsored by Divine Healing, and I have a flyer of that, which I've got up on the screen there just to share with you some news. This is going to be from 1 to 3 p.m. here in Nashua, New Hampshire at the Radisson Hotel which is at 11 Terra Boulevard. It's free admission to this event, and the doors open at 9:30 a.m. for early arrivals to register for their readings. I'll be offering astrology intuitive past life readings throughout this event. I was requested to do this type of reading, so I'm happy to be bringing this forward. It is basically a new vision of astrology, an ancient technique, which is the most exact type of reading I have ever learned, in addition to what I've already learned. So anyway, this is the type of reading that I'll be offering, and on the next page that I have to put up on the screen is basically this describes what you'll be getting in your reading at this event. It will be, as I said earlier, ancient astrology knowledge used to reveal your past lives, your reincarnations, and an explanation of how this is affecting your life presently, which is revealed by your birth chart. Find out what's in your cosmic DNA. You will receive a graph from me listing your lifetimes along with your birth chart. These are 15 to 30-minute readings, depending on what your request is. I will cover as many of those as I can during that time. Typically, this is normally about at least a 2-hour reading. So anyway, along with my readings, there will be many other types of readings offered, tarot, psychic, angel cards, and there'll also be many vendors at this event as well offering their wares. So I wanted to just share that information with you. And moving on to talk about what's on my agenda next today is I'd like to provide some further insight into the growing energy influence this week of the Gemini full moon, of which we will see the fullest expression energetically truly throughout this week as that moon grows in fullness. Its influences and the effects of its influences will be felt and experienced in our lives. And Friday night, that's this Friday night, December 5th, if we have a clear night, you should be able to see a very full expression of that full moon. But the fullest when the moon is exactly at its fullest in the constellation of Gemini, will be at 8:35 a.m. on December 6th. And so I have a chart which is of that full moon, and you can see it highlighted in green down near the right side of the chart. And that moon is exactly at its fullest at 14 degrees in the constellation of Gemini, a full scope and awareness to light our awareness of this Gemini full moon. The fullness of this Gemini energy influences and encourages us to think hard, to converse, to exchange and share our thoughts and our ideas with those who are willing to share with us, and most of all, become aware of the different possibilities. Full moons bring awareness, acknowledgement of our connection with life, with the world around us. So as this week progresses, you'll feel a strong need to share your experiences with others who are like-minded. And I have a little story. Gemini is a storyteller. They love to talk. They love to converse. They're very sociable. And I wanted to share a little something that I had experienced over the last couple of weeks. Walked into the kitchen, saw my husband sitting at the table playing a video on YouTube. And it was a song by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, C'est la vie, which means that's life. And some of the words are, who knows, who cares for me? And I had a vision of him sitting on at a seaside, sitting at a table eating a plate of pasta as he listened to this music. And truly, this Gemini full moon, and I speak about this because everybody has a story. As I said before, Gemini is very closely aligned with the story, with the intelligence, with the knowledge that we each carry and are able to convey to each other. So there's this full expression of how we feel. And so there's always a duality when Gemini energy is present. And with this full moon, it certainly does bring us that realization of the duality of life, of how we feel, what our truth is. And that song is stuck with me, C'est la vie, that's life, ever since I heard my husband playing that. And it has inspired me to, share my story and listen. Oppositions, full moons, do ask us to be present to hear from others what their story is, what their truth is as well. And so with the sun in Sagittarius and this Gemini full moon, we will become aware of the truth through those we are interacting with, and it'll be our choice whether we can open our minds to receive it and accept it and then align with it. And I've been reading a book that I got from one of the intuitive readers at our last fair. It's called The Descendant, and it's by Macherie Chappelle. And I wanted to share this with you because this book is a true story about her life and her descendants. And it is book one of a trilogy of novels based on the journey of life of one woman's rise from painful tragedy to divine love. And in my opinion, it's a must-read as it triggers an awakening and a transformation within your being as you read it. I have not been able to put this book down. It's a large novel, and as I said, it's book one. It's an incredible story that reminded me that we each have a history, a story, and what I'm reminded of through her story is that it's never too late to retrace where you've been and to realize that your past provided the stepping stones toward a more prosperous and loving life. And it is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or her website, which is www.myportalstar.com. And I wanted to share that with you because it is very well written and very heart-touching. And it is her story of her life, her ancestors, and going quite a ways back within her ancestry. So I would encourage you at this time to discover what her story is, because it will encourage you to look at what your story is. And again, this Gemini full moon energy brings reflections of ourselves through our interactions and experiences with others as full awareness comes to light. It delivers us information that connects us to truth, our truth about our history and the culture of our ancestors. This Gemini full moon will inspire big ideas and visions. So this week, you will feel incredibly inspired, and there's a sense of creativity because Mercury is the planet that takes rulership over Gemini energy, and so it will inspire this creative expression. And it's easy to fall into patterns. It could be with Gemini because it's very talkative. So be careful about falling into patterns of gossip under this strong string of righteous truth, which is this string of energy, the sun in Sag and the moon in Gemini. Do what you would want others to do to you, basically. So say what you would want others to hear you say. And so this is a combination that would inspire us to be honest, truthful, but be careful about the effects to others. And I would encourage you, when you're in doubt, to be careful what you say, as words are extremely powerful under this Gemini full moon influence. And if I could put that full moon chart back up on the screen that I just had on, there it is. I want to point out some very positive things that are occurring on this full moon, which is there's something I call angel wings, which means that if we are able to look at things from both sides of both perspectives, the duality of who we are, that will land on our feet, take into consideration the relationship, and that when you plant a seed of positivity, when you say nice things, when you express positive feelings, it comes back to you. So even in the face of adversity, a full moon can bring some adverse effects because, again, there is so much emotion, but there's also those angel wings, which indicates that we'll land on our feet if we are able to realize that there's things that are changing around us, and that our insight is important to others, but so is theirs to us. And I found this quote which reminds me of the energy of this full moon and what it will bring to light. And it says, "You must have absolute faith in your own perceptions of truth. Never act in haste or hurry. Be deliberated in everything. Wait until you know the true way." And this comes from Wallace D. Wattles, and it's a quote from The Science of Being Great. So I wanted to share that little piece of information with you about that full moon. And today, next on my agenda is Jupiter's retrograde, which is going to be occurring actually begins on December 8th of 2014, and it lasts through April 8th of 2015. And why I'm talking about Jupiter retrograde is because it is the biggest planet in our solar system. Jupiter always encouraged truth. It encourages wisdom, and it encourages insight and understanding. And it's been in the constellation of Leo since July. And I want to show you a chart of that Jupiter as the retrograde begins, which is exactly on December 8th at 8:35 p.m. And we know it's retrograde because the numbers or the degrees have turned red. And it does, as it steps into his retrograde, it is setting off a grand trine in fire. There's actually a grand trine in fire that we see in this chart, which is very, very lucky. I call this an emerald soul, which inspires creativity. There's a great sense of relief and realization of where we need to change. We've discovered a great many things. So I wanted to point that out about this Jupiter retrograde as it begins on December 8th. And during the time that Jupiter is retrograde, it will facilitate and usher in a letting go of limited beliefs and expressions, allowing for the incorporation of new realizations and truths. During the retrograde, Jupiter goes from almost 23 degrees in the constellation of Leo back to 12 degrees of Leo. So if you have any planets in your birth chart between those degrees, you will be going back over some things that you've already experienced. And I just want to add that since Jupiter moved into Leo back in July, its influence has had everyone exploring how they can express themselves, express their feelings. There's a strong, expanded need to feel special in some way and to be recognized. And it's interesting how that has played out. And Jupiter moving through Leo has pinged all of our hearts to open, to explore, and to be creative. To remember, though, that inside of each of us there's a child that needs to play. That's been a reminder also as Jupiter has been in Leo. Every one of us has a child within that wants to have fun, that needs to play, that needs to be able to relax and put your feet up and rest. That's a very Leonian type of energy. Jupiter's retrograde will bring forth a time that will ask us to accept and integrate the areas that we've realized about ourselves. And its retrograde will bring about a reflection of the time from July through December, and the truth of what we each experienced will be revisited. So it's an interesting, and probably I could share and talk a lot more about what could unfold during that Jupiter retrograde. I'll probably talk about it on future shows, but just to give you a heads up of what December of 2014 is about to unfold. The next topic that I'm going to talk about on today's show is the 6th square that is going to be occurring this month between Uranus and Pluto. And I have a chart of that, which I'm going to put up. There it is. And you can see the redded areas. On the top is Pluto at 12 degrees of Capricorn and Uranus at 12 degrees of Aries, conjunct the South Node. And this is very, very powerful, as these are what we call power planets. And this is actually occurring exactly on December 14th at 1:10 p.m. That is the exact time that this square becomes exact. So December 14th through March 17th. What this means to us is that it really pings our perception. It highlights our human perception, that is our 6th chakra, our third eye, or our energy center will undergo a complete transformation and change. You know, we've been, I have another picture which I want to put up on the screen. And it's highlighting the 6th chakra, which you can see is the third eye. If you had an eye in the middle of your forehead, that is what we call your third eye. And it really does influence our human perception. And what has happened starting way back in 2012, June of 2012, we experienced the very first square between these two powerful planets, Pluto and Uranus. And we've had this pattern of each one of our spirit energy centers within the human body, which we call chakras, being pinged, opened, and there's been this total awakening and transformation that has occurred in between each of these dates. And I created this picture so that you could get a picture of what this looks like. So between December 14th and March of 2015, this is what's going to be occurring. The sixth chakra is the chakra that supports our balance. It's our center for living an inspiring life, wisdom, discernment, perception, imagination, and for believing in ourselves and our abilities. And so we're all set with that picture. When a person appears, you could think of some people that you know in your life or have met or will meet. They appear as what we call, sort of unbalanced, a know-it-all, we might call them. Their personalities like that, they're judgmental and inflexible. It could mean that their sixth chakra is overdeveloped, meaning overexpanded. So the eye is at the sixth chakra, or as we call it, the third eye level, because this is where our imagination, our intuition, and our insight reside. And the psychic tool of clairvoyance or clear seeing also originates from this third eye chakra. And a clear sixth chakra is the catalyst that sparks creative, that creative genius within us by uniting the left and the right side of the brains, or the hemispheres of the brains, which merges our intuitive, our feeling brain, and the rational and the thinking brain. And so it is where this line between, and it really is this line between our dreams and our reality that can become clouded. And we try to embrace the concept that we all have the power to create the life of our dreams. It's not always a clear, straightforward type of thing. And the sixth chakra, or the third eye, has a lot to do with this. So the sixth chakra, which is our, also has to do with our self-image, our imagined self, is developed and can be changed during this beginning influence of this Pluto Uranus Square. Has a large, very strong influence over our third eye. And the health of our sixth chakra shows how we use our mind's eye to perceive our physical self, our qualities, and our characteristics. So I ask you, do you see yourself as flawed or with perfection? And that tells you a lot about the health of your third eye, or your sixth chakra. This sixth chakra is also where creative visualization and the formation of your life visions comes into play. Inspiration is the natural byproduct of a balanced sixth chakra, and people with open sixth chakras live inspired and very supportive lives. People you see who are wise, you consider them wise, discerning, perceptive, imaginative, and they believe in themselves and their abilities. Ultimately, they rely on their inner voice to show them the way. This energetic influence between Uranus and Pluto challenges us to really focus, to be aware that we are going through some very big changes in this particular area of our being. And I would encourage you to look outside the box to find solutions for challenges that you're experiencing in your life. Look at things from a different perspective. Look at them in a different way. Your unique sense of personal style and individuality often brings a spotlight on to us. People that have a very well-balanced sixth chakra, you'll often see them being recognized and noticed for their home life or their work life or what they're passionate about. If you, here's what you would see if you met someone who has an overdeveloped sixth chakra. as I said before, they would appear as a know-it-all personality type. They'd be more judgmental, inflexible, and pragmatic. And they must see something in order to believe it. That's one of their traits. And rarely, if ever, will they pay attention or follow their feelings or their inner guidance. They would question it. Their closed minds most likely prevent them from seeing the bigger picture of their lives. So people with an underdeveloped sixth chakra may be fearful of change, of standing out, or being in the limelight. Quite the opposite. They could suffer from unclear thinking or lack of concentration. They may be prone to follow the crowd or to go along in order to get along, even when it isn't what they want or what they believe in. So the third eye, here's a formula for enlightenment and for awakening and really getting in tune with your third eye. Imagination plus intuition plus insight equals inspired action. Those are the three I's: imagination, intuition, insight. Trust, believe them, work on them, allow yourself to develop this during this time. You will be growing with the influences that are around you that are challenging you to take this step. So again, the human self is undergoing incredible transitions. As a whole, we're being transformed and reshaped by the evolving universe around us. And I know I'm about to the end of the show here today, so I do want to just let you know that Uranus in Aries is asking us to awaken to the new way, to learn about ourselves, to think outside the box, to awaken to the intuitive side that we all have. So I want to say thank you to everyone for watching Turn to the Stars and wish you healthy, happy holiday celebrations. And remember, turn to the stars and you'll find your answers there. Until next time, take good care. I'll see you then.